There was a fireman, a monk, and an electrician. One day they were on the lake, and they were talking about life, and the monk said, "What's life all about?" And the fireman said, "I think it's all about putting out fires." And the electrician said, "I think it's all about putting on wires." And so the monk said, "I think it's about God." And the electrician and the fireman agreed that life was about God. And out of nowhere, an actor was strolling along the side of the shore, and he started saying his lines out loud to no one in particular. And the fireman said, "I wonder what he's talking about. I wonder what kind of play he's talking about." And the electrician said, "Who knows?" And the monk said, "Let's find out." And so the fireman, the monk, and the electrician approached the actor and said, "What kind of play are you practicing?" And the actor said, "I'm not practicing a play at all." and, and the monk said, "What?" The actor said, "I'm not practicing a play at all. I'm just saying lines to a well-known play that I know." And the fireman said, "Yes, that's the same thing as reciting lines to a play. What play are you talking about?" "It's a Shakespeare," said the actor. And the fireman went to get into a fire truck, but found there wasn't a fire truck around. So he took a bucket of water and doused the actor. And the actor said, "Thank you so much. That I needed that." and the monk said, "I think he needs a bath." And the electrician said, "Don't douse me with water. I have all sorts of electrical devices on me." And so the actor said, "That's great now. I'm all soaking wet." And the fireman said, "We can put you in a fire." And the actor said, "No, that won't be necessary." And the monk said, "We're going to help you out now." And so the fireman, the electrician, and the monk pushed the actor into the lake. And the actor was completely caught off balance, and he fell into the lake and said, "What's going on here?" And the fireman, the monk, and the electrician said, "We think you needed that." And the actor said, "Well, thanks, that's really nice of you." And the monk said, "That's not nice at all. We just think you needed a bath." And the actor said, "I bathed twice already today." He's like, "Because someone else pushed me in the lake." And the fireman said, "Why do people want to push you in the lake?" And the actor said, "I don't know. It's just some sort of thing that's going on, I guess. People get pushed into the lake all the time." And so the fireman took another bucket of water and then threw it on the monk. And the monk said, "I think that you need to rethink what you're doing." And the electrician said, "I'm not going to get soaked either." And so the fireman, the monk, and the actor ran after the electrician as they tried to soak him with water. They all got a bucket of water and started throwing it all across the beach. Each time the electrician got further and further away. And the actor, the monk, and the fireman got too tired to chase the electrician, and so the only one who wasn't soaked was the fireman. And the monk and the actor just talked amongst themselves, and the fireman said, "What are you guys saying?" And the monk and the actor said, "We think it's time for you to get soaked." And so the electrician came back. This time he didn't have any electrical devices on him, and he pushed the fireman into the lake. And then the monk and the actor said, "Why did you do that?" And the electrician said, "I just wanted to." And so the fireman, the actor, and the monk were all soaking wet, and the electrician was the only one who was not really doing much of anything about it. He just started running in circles before he took off, went into his car, and was about to drive off when the fireman called all of his buddies and had a blockade so that the car couldn't get out of the parking lot. And the electrician got out of his car and said, "What are you doing?" And the firefighters' buddies took out with a fire hose and they sprayed him with water. So the electrician, the actor, the firefighter, and the monk, they were all soaking wet. So the monk said, "Let's all go to the monastery so we can get dried off." And so they all went to the monastery and changed clothes, and they didn't have any other clothes on hand except robes that all the monks wore, so they all just got into robes, and it just so happened to be a Vespers service going on, so they all just sat there and waited for Vespers around 6 or 7 o'clock, and they waited there, and then one of the monks spoke and started talking and preaching a sermon, and the firefighter decided to leave in the middle of the sermon. And the monk that was preaching the sermon noticed this and said, "Oh well." And then the actor was the next one to leave, and 5 minutes later, and then the monk preaching the sermon said, "Oh well, that's not so bad." And then the firefighter left, and while he was saying the sermon, and then the monk said, "Oh well, the sermon's about to be over anyway." And then the monk left and said, "That's kind of odd. He never leaves Vespers." And so what happened was a fire truck came, and then they doused all the monks inside of the abbey, inside of the chapel. And what happened was they're all soaking wet, so they had to change clothes again, and this time they were all wearing robes, as they always do. And then they found out that they could go to the fire hall, and so they could change their clothes. And the firefighters had nothing there but fire suits, so they all changed into a bunch of fire suits. So there were quite a few fire people, or people who looked like firemen, and then they got a call saying that they had to put out one of the houses that was on fire. And so there were quite a few there were a bunch of monks who didn't know how to be firefighters, And so they just went to the house and put out the fire with a fire truck. The end.